Hey everyone, I'm going to be reviewing your syllabus for Fundamentals of Anatomy and Physiology 1. This is the online asynchronous course. This syllabus will be representative for both the lecture and the lab portion of this course, and you'll only have one Canvas shell to which you'll be able to access things for both lecture and lab. Because at the end of the semester, this is one final grade, incorporating both how you did well in lab and how you did in lecture. So, a little bit of information here. My name is Dr. Alex Cumbie. Here is my email. That will be a really good way to primarily communicate with me since this is an online asynchronous course. I also have office hours. So, my office hours this semester will be on Mondays between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m. on Microsoft Teams. And right here, you can click this Microsoft Bookings link in order to make a 15-minute appointment with me that you'll be able to schedule at your leisure. So, this is how you'll kind of schedule office hours with me. These will be virtual through Microsoft Teams. So, a little bit about this course. So, this is a two-part course, and of course, you'll be taking part one online. And we basically go over the first 17 or so chapters, okay, in our anatomy textbook. Anatomy can be a little bit like drinking from a fire hydrant at times because there is so many different organ systems and so many concepts. And that makes anatomy kind of not only a critical thinking course, but a course that requires some memorization as well. We'll be going over these following body systems: the integumentary system, skeletal system, muscular system, nervous system, and then the endocrine system. Those are kind of the main body systems that we'll cover in part one. And then in the laboratory, you can probably guess what different types of structures you might be learning about. So for the integumentary system, you'll be looking at structures in the skin, skeletal system, bones, muscular system, your musculoskeletal system, right? Those muscles. Nervous system is going to be the brain, spinal cord, all those nerves, including sensory, which would be the eyes, the ears, the mouth, and the nose. And then endocrine has to do with organs that produce hormones. So quite a bit in part one. And these are some of the course objectives that kind of follow with the course description. We do have a textbook. So this is from McKinley, the Anatomy and Physiology Integrative Approach. You already have access to this textbook day one. You do not need to do any additional purchases. It's part of the course. When you register for the course, it already pays for it. And this is a virtual textbook. You can request a physical textbook, but that may be at extra cost to you through McGraw-Hill. But I'll be able to show you. So in Canvas, we have a little link called McGraw-Hill Connect LTIA. You click on that and you should be able to access your virtual textbook, no problem. As far as accessing another thing that we use in McGraw-Hill, which is Connect, which you just go through the McGraw-Hill Connect LTIA link on our Canvas shell. Connect, you're going to have some assignments in there. Mostly, we'll take a look at the assignments for this course a little bit later on. Mostly smart books or practice problems you'll be able to do in McGraw-Hill Connect, and they'll be part of your overall grade. So, and McGraw-Hill Connect is where you'll also find your virtual textbook. So, all in some easy to follow links. Sometimes Connect has some issues. If you have issues with Connect, do not worry. Just shoot me an email and we can fix it. But they do have a really great support line. So you can either go to their website and chat with support or call them. They have a lot of hours to be able to help you. I may not be able to help you with all of your computer issues, but they certainly can if it relates to their programming. So, since this is an online asynchronous course, right, we have no mandatory in-person meetings at all, right? And the only kind of meetings that you might have with me will be if you sign up for office hours. The lectures are going to be made available each week. They are pre-recorded. They're going to be YouTube links that are going to be posted each week for whatever unit or chapter that we're covering. Um, and you're expected to make sure that you check in with our Canvas shell and, look at those videos, look at announcements I might be making, and any reminders for what assignments are due for the week. If this is your first time taking an online course, I do have some links here that will help you be successful as an online learner. One more thing, we do use something called smarter proctoring. So since we can't take any physical lecture or lab exams, we use a virtual proctor software. This is called Smarter Proctoring. This will be videotaping you while you take your exams, not just your face, but also your screen. And again, if you do not want your personal space videotaped, make sure you take this exam in the library or a space that you do not mind being in the camera, because you will have to show your desk area as part of the scan. To use smarter proctoring, you need to have a computer or a laptop with a webcam. It can't be a tablet, an iPad, or a phone. It just doesn't work with this software. This smarter proctoring software works in Google Chrome because it's an extension that you easily install in Google Chrome. You will need to use smarter proctoring for this course. The other option that you may want to take if you do not want to use smarter proctoring is making an appointment at an eligible ODU institutional testing center. We have them kind of across in different cities where you can go to a physical testing center and they'll proctor you there. So for some course expectations, I myself am going to do my best to make this a rewarding learning experience. I'm going to try to provide clear guidelines for all your assignments and feedback when necessary, and do my best to prepare your exams and assignments to the best of my ability so that they cover everything that we've covered in lecture. For you, I expect you guys to be spending time in this course. I know that might be hard in an online format. You'll have to have a little bit of onerous on you to schedule times for when you're going to study, when you're going to do your assignments, when you're going to watch the lecture videos, things like that. I will be posting announcements each week, right? You'll get a weekly announcement. It'll have the YouTube link for your video lecture, and it will also be reminding you of any upcoming assignments and exams. So make sure you check your Canvas shell each week for these announcements, or there is some settings in the Canvas shell where you can have, if an announcement is posted, a grade is posted, that it will email you. So you should be checking your email regularly as well. And again, for the lectures, these are pre-recorded. It's going to be the PowerPoint presentations that you have access to, and I will just be talking through them so that you can watch the video at your leisure and take notes at your leisure doing that. So as far as grading goes, and we'll go into what the assignments actually look like after you look at the grading scale. So this is showing you kind of how your grades break down. I don't do a plus or minus scale in this class. So a 90 as an A is the same as 100 as an A, okay? And so on and so forth. Anything in the 80s is a B, anything in the 70s is a C, Ds are the 60s, and Fs are anything below that. I don't do extra credit or curving in this course. So for kind of looking at the breakdown, you will have 3 lecture exams and a final exam, which is going to be worth twice as much as a single lecture exam, right? So each lecture exam is 100 points. Final exam is going to be 200 points. It will be cumulative, but I will be giving you a guide for the cumulative final, so you know exactly what to study for. You have lecture quizzes that you'll take throughout the semester. Each is worth 50 points apiece, and I'll kind of discuss what those all look like when we look at how the assignments work. You have smart book readings, 10 points apiece, practice problems, 10 points apiece, and then there's the lab portion. So lab exercises are about 11 points each, and then lab exams, there's 4 of them, will be 100 points each. I don't accept late work in this class. You have plenty of time to do these assignments. If you do run out of time for an extenuating circumstance, please let me know ahead of time, okay, so that we can try to reopen assignments if you are eligible for an extension, okay? So let's look at how some of these are. So for the lecture portion, you have smart book readings. If you're not familiar with this, this is a McGraw-Hill Connect thing where it guides you through the book and you answer questions. You do not have to read the book. You can answer the questions if you feel ready, but just note the smart book readings get longer the more questions you answer incorrectly. So if you answer things incorrectly, it's going to send you back to the book to read, and then it might end up taking you a long period of time. I have made all of these so that they should be less than an hour. Usually they're around 30 to 40 minutes. For practice problems, those are also going to be in McGraw-Hill Connect. These are just questions with multiple choice answers, right? That'll help you prepare for exam-like questions. And these will not take you very long at all. Usually, they're anywhere from 15 to 25 questions. You have unlimited attempts, and they should take you less than an hour to complete. These are to kind of prepare you for the lecture exams. One additional thing to prepare you for the lecture exams is throughout the semester, you'll be given quizzes. Quizzes can have a variety of question forms, multiple choice, true or false, short answer, fill in the blank, or essay. Your quizzes are taken online. Um, they're not very long, typically 10 to 20 questions. They are timed, but unlike your exams, your quizzes are going to be open note and open book. I want you to do well on these quizzes. I want you to be exposed to questions that are going to be similar to what you're going to see on the exam that will challenge your thinking about the content that you're learning. So these quizzes are going to be open book and open note as you take them. What will not be open book, open note, open any other resource will be your exams, because I really want to truly assess what you have learned for that unit. You're going to have one exam per unit of chapters, and we'll be able to see at the bottom of the syllabus what your schedule looks like for each unit. Exam questions are going to be very similar to quiz questions. They could be multiple choice, true or false, short answer, fill in the blank, and some essays. Typically, your exams are going to be 50 questions or less, and they'll be timed. You will be given enough time, okay, to take these exams, I promise. Our exams are not open book, open note, open any other resource. So I just want you to take the exam. You'll be taking it in Smarter Proctoring, and it just has to be you. Exams are taken in one sitting, so you can't just start the exam, then go off and do something and come back. You must take it in one sitting. They're going to be in Canvas, but you're going to click on the Smarter Proctoring link so that it's proctored through Smarter Proctoring. You're only going to be granted one attempt per exam, unless for some reason there's technical difficulties. If that happens, just let me know. I will reopen the exam, okay? If you do contact Smarter Proctoring and there's an issue, they will likely not be able to open the exam. So you can contact them to see if they can fix the issue, but you'll likely be contacting me, telling me that something happened, Smarter Proctoring locked you out, something like that, and I'll reopen the exam. While you take the exams, aside from not being able to use other resources, because I truly want to test your abilities here, be sure that you're following ODU Student Code of Conduct, okay? I do have to put a note in here about academic dishonesty. Hopefully we will not have an issue with this, okay, in this class, but you must adhere to the ODU Student Code of Conduct. Academic dishonesty, this is cheating, plagiarism, using resources that you're not allowed to use during exams, okay? Outside help, handwritten notes, printed content, your cell phone, additional computers, smartwatches, other devices that you should not have during the exams, okay? If you are found to be using those, it's not going to be tolerated, okay? You'll receive a 0 for the work, and you'll be reported to the Office of Student Conduct and Academic Integrity. So please, please, please do not do that. If for some reason, because I know that we all have lives, if for some reason you get an emergency phone call during an exam, this happens, okay, and you use your cell phone, please make sure after your exam is done that you contact me, okay, and tell me why you were using your phone, things like that, so that when the proctor flags you, I will know that there was a reason behind it, okay? So just be sure of that. For the lab portion, okay, you will be given structure lists, and these essentially are study guides, okay? They tell you exactly what you need to know for the lab exam, and then you have PowerPoints which show you the structures, okay? And those structures are going to be very, very similar imagery that I would use, to ask exam questions. Your lab exams are going to be in Canvas. They will be through Smarter Proctoring as well, but they're a little bit different than our lecture exams because your lab exams are only write-in. What that means is you'll be shown a picture, right, of the image, say it's a bone, and I need you to write in what that bone is, right, or what that landmark on that bone is. And so this will require some typing. Okay, that's what you're going to be doing. There's no choices here. So you write in your answer, type in your answer, and I will not be counting off for spelling. Okay, as long as I can figure out what you are trying to say, okay, I will not count off for spelling, right? Because I want you to know these terms. Just like your lecture exams, lab exams are not open note, open book, open other resources. Please do not use those resources during the exam. I want to assess how well you know these structures. So that your lab portion is not super exam heavy, because I don't want it to be the only thing you receive a grade for in the lab. I do have lab exercises. They're going to be on Canvas. They are fairly easy, will not take you too long, but they are going to review through structures that are going to be in your structure list and in your PowerPoints, and you'll answer questions about them. They should help you as you are learning these structures. All right, for additional things, conflict resolutions. If there is a conflict with something going on in the course, I'm the first person that you would contact, or you can contact my TA, Ryan Kilduff. He'll primarily be assisting me in the lab portion of this course. But if you can't come to terms with whatever conflict is going on between myself or with Ryan, then your next person you would contact is the chairperson of the biology department. This is Dr. Holly Gaff. I have her office number and her email here if needed. We do at ODU follow the Americans with Disabilities Act, so we are compliant with ADA. If you do have a disability that you have disclosed to the Office of Educational Accessibility, which makes you eligible for certain accommodations, okay, for this class, right? Be sure that OEA knows you are taking this class and they can send a letter on your behalf so that we can provide accommodations for you in this course. As far as AI goes, I don't think we're going to have many issues in this course with AI. I don't want you to use AI in this course. Since all your exams are taken in Smarter Proctoring anyways, using AI is not going to be an issue. I do know that probably a lot of you have Grammarly on your computers. That is fine. I don't want Grammarly giving you answers, but if it corrects your spelling, which I've often seen on exams, that's completely fine. And as far as other resources go, I've provided a few here. So ODU is great at providing free tutoring opportunities. So they have the Science Tutoring Center, which has people that you can link up with either in person or virtually to tutor in this course. Okay. And one of the things that goes along with that is that we have this tutor.com link that is present in our Canvas shell. All you have to do is click it, and then you can get access to free tutoring resources. There's some other things at ODU as well. So ODU Student Outreach and Support Program, SOS. If you have something that is going on in your life that you're going to have major absences, you're going to need extensions on assignments because there's your life is blowing up. Okay. SOS is great to reach out to. They are partnered with ODU Cares so that they can reach out to your professors for you, tell us what's going on, and then we can figure out how to kind of help you with the situation with accommodations and extensions. The ODU library, if you live nearby, right, has quiet study rooms. They even can do equipment loans like laptops, which would be needed for this course since it's online. A few other links here. I have ODU's Office for Counseling Services, Women and Gender Equality Center, as well as Military Connection Center. These are additional resources for student wellness, okay, and well-being that you can access if needed. The last part of our syllabus is just our schedule for both the lecture and the lab. The lecture schedule's first, and then the lab one is second, but it'll kind of tell you what you're doing each week, aside from the weekly announcement that I'll be posting. So here it tells you what assignments you have, when they're due, right? What chapter we may be going over in those recorded video lectures so that you can kind of follow along. And then highlighted in this kind of pinkish red here is when our exams are. The exam is going to be open for multiple days, so you can kind of pick when you take it. So you can see that this first exam here tells you the chapters it's on is going to be open from 211 to 213. So you can pick the day that it works best for you. Okay. Continuing on, right, we have just the dates in here for each exam, right? If we have a break, like our spring break here, spring holiday, right, that's been accounted for, those types of things. And then we have our lab schedule here, and it tells you when the lab exams are as well. The weeks may overlap with each other for your lecture and lab exams, but the days do not. So you can see here, lab exam 1 will open 213 to 215, and you have lecture exam up here open the same week, but earlier in the days so that you have time to study for both of these. And the lecture and the lab should coincide with each other. So the same structures you're learning in lecture that you're learning more physiology about are going to be the structures that you are going to be tested on for the anatomy of in the lab. So they should pair with each other. And again, here we have your lab assignments that are due, what we're focusing on for the topic of the week, and when your lab exams are. And that's basically it. If you do have any questions for me, please feel free to reach out to me via email, and welcome to our class. Thanks.